This is the Tabernacle Podcast with your host, Martin Rizzi. And today, my guests, not one, but two generations of pretty amazing ladies. Haley Kroupa and our kind of featured guest today, Tracy Romzek.
Woo!
Welcome, ladies.
Sorry. Hi. Hi.
How are you?
Doing well.
Yes?
I'm nervous.
You're nervous? That's fair. Because we're going to grill you for the next hour in like the most painstaking way possible. Now, it's going to be fine. It's going to be fun. Haley, you've done this a few times. It's not bad, right?
This is my time number 3.
Time number 3.
So I'm feeling fine. Mm-hmm. Feeling fine.
The way you say that, I don't buy in at all. I believed you until you said it there. Okay.
I really am. Right. It's okay.
Was it scarier when it was yours?
Fine.
Yeah. Scarier when it was mine, when it was my first time on
the podcast.
Yeah, on the podcast, yep. But yeah, no, I'm feeling like all the pressure's on her, so I'm all right.
Gotcha. You notice how I'm immediately like detracting from her so that I put the pressure on you?
Yes, thank you.
Yes,
the eye contact, I think, is what's doing the fear.
Let her lead the way.
Yes, absolutely. Well, that is a great intro to our podcast today because this is an interesting one. It really did come about after Haley's podcast. Mm-hmm. So for our podcast family that maybe isn't as savvy or forgot, hasn't been listening to all of the over 200 episodes that we've got now, or just around 200 episodes, Haley's was number 183. And it was aptly titled, A Child Will Lead Them. And that podcast led to me going upstairs and going, so Tracy, we should probably set the record straight, because you made a bunch of guest appearances in that one. I was listening to it a little bit this morning, and it was like, Mom this, Mom that. And I think John kind of gave you a little bit of, and Mom is Tracy, and kind of put some dots together. But it cracks me up on occasion when people come on staff and they don't know you guys are related.
Oh, yeah. It happens all the time.
Yeah.
Sometimes for an awkwardly long amount of, like, years. Or
yes, years, weeks.
Like, a long time. They're like, oh. That makes so much sense.
It does happen a lot.
I don't know how anybody could not, but I'm certain, because I'm like the worst person with family connections, that it took me way longer than it should have. And I was like, oh, Cassie probably had to tell me. She's like, you realize that's her daughter, right? Yep. Oh, yeah.
I had a person once recognize me by my voice. When we worked next door to each other, she worked at the gym, I worked at the cafe. And somebody said, I was waiting on them, and they said, are you related to somebody that works next door? Your voice is just so familiar. And I said, that's my mom.
That's awesome. So for you out there that are just listening to the audio back in archaic land of Spotify without video, the voice you just heard was Haley Kroupa.
Hopefully they'll be able to tell us apart.
And that's Tracy. So I don't know. Maybe it's just impossible. But no, that podcast was really cool. It started out as kind of a changed life story, but it walked into a lot of the story, and it kind of bumped into pieces of Mom was a big part of the connection point to the Tabernacle. She roped you into children's ministry pretty right away, right?
No, I was...
You were here
went
first,
with friends,
yes.
Yeah.
My bad.
So
you were student ministry, but then she roped you into working with her in children's ministry down the road.
Yeah, later on. Yep. She brought me back. Like, I brought her here, and then she started working here, and we were at a different church, and then we came back.
Roped her back.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that the biggest part of the me and my word Godronic part of the story is that her podcast being titled A Child Will Lead. She's the first one. Sorry, I get emotional. But she's the first one that started coming to the Tabernacle way back in 2004.
Probably,
I believe. In 2004, she started attending youth group. And that's what eventually brought us here. So, then they left, and I stayed, and they came back, and it's just been, God working.
Some hop, skips, and a jump.
And she used to be the Tab Kids director, and now
you're a Tab Kids director.
She gave me her cup.
That's awesome.
I passed it on.
There are literally 1,000 like little trails that we can follow through this. But before we go down all of them, because I do want to get to the Tab Kids one, because that was a big part of Tracy and I's relationship as well. Like that's where she was when I came on board. And I very quickly was just like, whatever happens, we have to continue working together. I was just so grateful to have her.
We have a pact.
Yeah. I was trying to survive like jumping into ministry, and there's this person that was phenomenal and just helped me out so much. And it was like, this is a great, hey, how about you stick it out for 10 years? I'll stick it out for 10 years. I'm on 8 right now, by the way. So like we're rounding the corner.
Yeah, I'm
We're
on
doing
9.
this. Yeah.
I'm on 9.
So I was grateful for that. But I before we jump into kind of the story as it's close to us, I want to give you a chance to kind of tell a little bit of the backstory. So changed life stories are what we do around here. We know that God changes lives. But yeah, give us kind of the abbreviated version to bring us up to speed before we jump into all those pieces and parts.
I don't even know where to start when this question comes up, but my childhood was a split home. So I spent a lot of my young life making decisions that were seeking. I was seeking the love and affirmation of a father role in my life. Man, it's hard to share all of that. But just an abbreviated version, I guess, would be I was a young mom. And my mom, young mom.
That's why people get you guys mistaken so often, right? Yeah.
My mom was a huge support system for me at that point in my life when Haley was born. And like I said, I was in high school. I finished high school. But, man, I made a lot of choices that thank the Lord that he brought me through them all.
Amen.
Is really all I can say. And I have beautiful children.
And we're grateful for those choices because they brought us Haley, right?
Yeah.
And this is the beauty of God. Like, this is the best part of every changed life story to me, to see people, because almost across the board, it's, hey, I made some choices in life. These were not God-honoring choices. These were not what I would prefer my children make. This was not how I wanted the story to go, but God did amazing things through it, and that's the redemption piece of it.
Absolutely. Yep. And
through that, we get to this place where, yeah, we've all had that. And so you've gone through high school, you've got a Haley. Now, Mama Michelle, right, is instrumental
Grandma
in
Mickey.
this.
Yep,
Grandma
everybody
Mickey.
knows her as Grandma Mickey.
Yep. I'm sitting over here thinking to myself, well, I know where the next episode's going. I have no idea if she's open to that.
What's up, Mom?
Don't panic, Mom, I swear.
Good luck with that one. We'll see. We'll work on her.
But she was a huge impact to you as you're trying to make it through this. Was there a deep faith in the family at that point? What did that look like?
Faith background was very up and down growing up. Initially, I was raised in Catholic church. Okay. Went through catechism classes, and even to the point where I have a history with some other Tabernacle family members that, were part of those catechism classes. So I've known them for years, and who knew God would bring us around, together again here. But then when I was pregnant for Haley, I was 16. And we started attending a Wesleyan church in Bel Air. Main influencers there would be my Aunt Terry and Uncle Roger.
Okay.
Don't look at me. You're making me cry.
Tears are welcomed here. You guys, you remember when I got to interview my wife, and she is also a crier. And we kind of broached that subject then. Like, tears are how the Holy Spirit flows through some people. So.
Yeah. I feel the tears. Like when we're in a room of emotion, I'm usually the one that just sits and cries for everyone else so they can talk, and I'll just be the conduit of tears. So I'm trying to talk through them. But my Aunt Terry and Uncle Roger were a huge influence as far as an example of Christian
like marriage and how to raise their family. And
yeah.
Yep.
And they were a huge part also of Haley's, her childhood, even now today still. They've been a huge influence. So
That's awesome.
Super grateful for them and the example that they've set.
So even then, in the midst of what was a challenging, end of the high school career, you've got people in your life that are modeling this beautiful example. You've got a mom that loves you and is helping you sort through this, right?
Yep.
This isn't, the MTV version of I'm a teen mom. This is genuinely, hey, I'm living this
it
out.
might have been close, but my poor mom.
The money in that would have been nice, probably.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know if that was really a thing back then. I need a tissue.
No, I think at that point it was a little bit, less socially acceptable.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate. Did you find that the church kind of, or anybody in your world faith-wise kind of held you at arm's length? What was your experience there?
No, that church loved me very well.
That's awesome.
Yeah, they loved me very well and made me feel accepted and not pushed away or shunned.
Right.
So, yeah, that's important.
That is beautiful. That's not often the story.
Yeah.
So I'm really grateful to hear that.
Yep.
But Haley is not the end of that story, right?
No.
Now there are other, because I got to meet some of the later children.
Yes.
And I'm just going to leave it there.
Okay, well, we'll go. There's Haley and
Yep.
Brad, and then Annie and Chris.
Okay.
And then there's Emma and Dom.
Yep.
And we also have a Jake.
A Jake.
Yes, we have a Jake.
Jake is the lone testosterone fish in the sea of estrogen with his 4 sisters. And then
That
there's
actually explains a lot. I've never thought of it that way, and now all of a sudden I give a lot more grace to Jake.
And then, of course, the baby of the family, Aiden,
Yeah.
and her new husband, Chase, off on their adventures.
And they are in
Living the island life.
Hawaii right
Yes.
now, right? Like
Yeah.
military life, the whole thing.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I got to meet Emma first. I'm pretty sure because she was volunteering in Firehouse when I came on board. But even before that, I think she was kind of around. She's a little quieter. No offense.
She is the
She-
quiet one.
yeah,
Fair
she's
amount,
the quiet one. She's don't be misled by the
Oh
quietness.
no.
though.
I've gotten to know her enough to know that there's some family resemblances there. But she's
The
pretty
sarcasm runs deep.
But she's subtle in how she kind of lays it out there, and I will catch myself turning around and like, hey, wait a minute. Whereas others are more direct. But yeah, and then Jake and Aiden, both in youth group as I come on board, and I'll never forget. Like I was just really interested. Jake was this really cool kid. He had a memory for music and like good music that I had never seen before. He was just, how old would he have been? I mean, 8 years ago. Mathing is terrible.
Well,
But,
he just turned 21, so
Okay.
he'd been 13, 14.
Yeah. but he seemed so little to me and just this kid. And he's suddenly growing up and he is rambunctious and obnoxious and like every 13, 14-year-old boy that I've ever met.
Yep.
But he's also super engaging for a long time. And then Aiden is, and we play basketball together. We goof around. It's youth groupy stuff. But I get to know Aiden a little bit, and I'm just like, oh my goodness, she's spunky, but this one's gonna be trouble. I didn't know you very well at this point, but as I got to know you, I was like, oh, she's not the first trouble that Tracy's dealt with. So different trouble along the way, but a pretty amazing family. I have not ever met Annie. I know there's a lot there, but it's cool to see how this story engages them, and I've gotten to see all of them because with Haley's story kind of being the children lead piece, they were the lead. I knew you. We worked together, but I felt like I was meeting them alongside of meeting you. So my story with you is kind of this dual picture of getting to see your kids, getting to see you, getting to meet you guys. And then there was Mike, who getting to know was a very different endeavor. But Mike, if you're out there, you actually listen to this, love you, miss you. He was probably the first guy at this church that literally just grabbed me by the scruff of the neck and was like, here's some things you need to know. Come stand out on the porch and understand what Buckley looks like. Still grateful for that moment. But. So as you are making your way through this, all of these kids along the way, I meet you here, but between Haley and here, there was quite a bit that went on. Tell me a little bit about that time frame.
Boy, that's a big
That's
time
a big
frame.
time frame, I admit. So from after high school, tell me about how things changed from the Catholic Church to the Wesleyan Church to whenever you end up around here.
When I ended up here. Okay. So I would say, like, if we go back to the Wesleyan Church, that was initially where I would say I started to really understand more of having a relationship with Jesus.
Okay.
Versus just knowing that he died on the cross. Where I learned that it was communication, that it was, really opening my heart and realizing that he did have that love for me, that God loved me regardless of decisions and choices. But so I would say that that's where I initially gave my life to Christ.
Okay.
But between then and the Tab in 2004, it was a rough road.
Yeah.
I was married and divorced, lost a baby. So there was a lot.
Yeah. And things, so sometimes we like to think, hey, I went to this church. I accepted, I really started to understand Jesus. And things didn't smooth out from that point, right?
No.
Because we're still involved.
Yeah.
Right?
And because I'm still making decisions in my flesh, really.
And it's not an easy life when you have children early. Mm-hmm. It's not an easy life when you have children. Let me just punctuate that there, right? But you're managing and maneuvering through this. And your career has been pretty cool along that way too. Can you kind of fill in some blanks that way? I just know you were a fitness trainer at one point, and that's still...
I wouldn't go that far. Yeah. But I did a lot of retail management.
Okay.
Oh, goodness. A lot of retail management. I did some bartending way back in the day.
It's really not all that different than what you're doing these days. Just quick engagements with people. Yes, less alcohol, but I always say that helped prepare me a lot for church world because the 30-second conversations we often get, it's very similar.
Yeah. I love to serve in the cafe because, I know what people...
Yeah.
I know what people want. I know what they like, and I can.
Good memory
I
for
can serve 4 cans at a time and crack them open.
Those of us in the hospitality back, there's a bunch of people listening right now that can resonate with this. There's something about having that 3 feet between people.
Yeah.
It's a interpersonal buffer, and it's really convenient.
But it's hard to hug people around that 3 feet counter, and I am a hugger actually. So. No. So, okay, retail management was a thing for me. And then I worked in an oil express.
Okay.
I decided that I wanted to take off my manager hat because I was in retail management. And so I took off my management hat and went to work at an oil express. And within 3 weeks was presented an opportunity to manage said oil express. And I was like, you realize that I know nothing about cars, absolutely nothing. And they said, yeah, but you can manage the people that know the things about the cars. And so I did that, and I feel like I did it well. But the biggest gift that came out of that would be Haley's husband.
I was just going to say that. I know this part of the story includes
I do like to brag on the fact that I picked him.
An arranged marriage.
Yeah, basically.
Absolutely.
Well, I did steal his number out of your phone to text him myself.
I never knew that. You just told on yourself.
Let's be honest here. Like I said, Aiden was not the first challenging dog.
I did. Yeah, I did that. Mm-hmm.
So you stole an older man's number out of your mom's phone.
Older than me, 2 years.
Yeah.
But it's not a huge age
gap. I like to poke at Brad a little bit.
But I do remember telling him, you should really meet my daughter. And he had just graduated from high school, and he was like, no, And then, I love their story.
And then he saw me.
Yeah.
And you saw him.
Yeah.
Yep.
And Brad is a handsome dude. Like, we haven't had Brad on the podcast yet, but if you're wondering, he's a stud. Like, he really is. Now, to be fair, just to take a little sidetrack here, how long have you guys been married now? I mean, this
15 years.
15 years.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So you
And we've
did
been
well.
together for 20.
Okay.
I'd say it was about 20 years ago.
Oh, wow. That's pretty impressive. So well done.
Yeah.
Tracy is a matchmaker. So there's a management thread in your career. Like, whether you like it or not, they keep seeing leadership within you. We'll get to that part of the story. I think that plays in as well. But yeah, so you're making your way through multiple careers, but you're surviving life. Let's kind of bring you up to speed a little bit here. So, and then your daughter, who you are trying to get married off as quickly as possible, starts at a youth group at a church called the Tabernacle in Buckley.
Yeah.
And at that point, correct me if I'm wrong, but the youth group is probably bigger than the general congregation. Like, where are we at?
Yeah, it was pretty big.
Yeah. And Johnny V, like, he
it was when he was new to town, and so everybody was excited.
Right.
And that was the cool thing to do after school on a Wednesday was go to youth group. We had basketball outside, and it was just the place to be.
over at the firehouse.
Yep, over at the firehouse.
Back where I got to start.
Yep.
I sometimes I miss that. Like, just the rambunctious ridiculousness of, like, all the basketball, the chaos, and a building that you could literally run into the walls and do no harm.
And the kids running into the poles.
Yes. Oh, gosh. Yeah, that was a bad day. So Haley comes to youth group and brings you. And this is, again, go listen to Haley's podcast if you want to hear all that backstory.
Yeah.
But you show up here and tell us a little bit about that, because it wasn't always easy sailing at the Tabernacle.
No. Mike and I started attending after they had introduced the new contemporary service happening at the firehouse. And this goes back to the days of the folding metal chairs. And all of us packing in there like sardines and passing the KFC buckets for giving. I love that we got to be a part of that story then. But at that point in our lives, Mike and I were not married. We were, I can't remember if I was pregnant. I think I was pregnant for Jake at that point.
Okay.
And met some people who have now become lifelong friends, obviously, but was involved with helping volunteer with student ministry. But being part of student ministry and also being an unwed couple and having more children, I had to sit down with John and have a conversation. He had to share some feelings with me that had been shared by other people, that basically I shouldn't be serving. And now that I'm where I'm at in my faith and my walk with Jesus, I understand it completely. But at that point in my life, I was very hurt.
Right. I can imagine.
To be asked to step down. And I was like, there's a lot of kids here that need to be loved. And isn't that what's important? But I stepped back. And in doing so, took my toys and went home.
So if you're okay with it, let's pause here for a minute, because that is a really tough conversation.
Absolutely.
Having been on the other end of that a couple of times now, it's heartbreaking, because what we're not trying to say, right? But we're human vessels that use words, and sometimes too many and sometimes too few, in a way that hurt people. But to be able to try to communicate, hey, we see something going on in your life that isn't right. This is sin. This is not what God's design is. We're not punishing you for this. We're not condemning you for this. Christ doesn't condemn you for this. But that doesn't mean that the example that you're currently setting is one we want our children, right? And as mature as we like to think we are, that doesn't always settle the way that it should. So in that moment, how are you, what's the response when you go home and talk to Mike that night? Like, how do you immediately respond?
Well, I do want to go back and say that when John and I had that conversation, he was very kind, and he feelings. He referred to me more as a Ruth and Mike as Boaz.
So for those that don't know, and I'm going to buy Tracy a moment here.
Thank you.
The story of Ruth and Boaz is that of a kinsman redeemer. Boaz has the opportunity to redeem Ruth, who is in a situation that she wouldn't want to be in.
Yeah.
And there is a beauty to this. And this is a pastoral way of saying, hey, you're not beyond God's design, but you're outside of it right now.
Yep.
So, and, Mike is a pretty great guy in a lot of areas like that. So how you guys get to respond to this, great analogy, John, but that's still not easy to hear. I don't care if you get the right analogy or not.
Yeah.
So.
But that did plant a seed for me, having that conversation. So, but yeah, I was hurt. We stepped away. We had stopped coming to the church for a while.
Any idea how long?
I don't remember, honestly. But it was a little while, and we didn't attend anywhere else in the meantime. We just stopped.
And did you quit going to youth group? Did you?
No, I didn't actually know this.
Okay.
No, I didn't know this occurred.
Interesting.
But, I mean, it makes sense.
Well done, Mom. I mean, that's not really something you go home and you're like, let me tell you about the pastor conversation.
I was also a teenager, very self-involved, and no one mattered except for me and what I was doing.
Full basketball career in youth group world. I get you. Yeah.
Basketball career.
Yeah. Us short people, you know how we do.
Come on. Yeah, I got you. It was better than you'd expect for 4'2".
So we eventually did come back. And I think that step, I feel like that came from me in a point of desperation, in just seeking some peace and some comfort. Mike was working nights, and it was very rough on him. It was hard on our relationship. It was hard for our kids. And so I just felt like I came in on a Sunday and prayed through the whole service. And God provides. I see the Holy Spirit move when I'm here. And so through that experience and coming back, and Mike was able to change jobs, and we got involved in a small group.
I've heard of this small group.
It was the OG small group, we refer to it as.
Yes.
And it was 4 to 5 other married couples with kids the same age, and Mike and I were still unwed.
Still unwed. Okay.
But we came back and we invested in that group. We started raising our children together. And for me, it was another place where I really saw an example of godly marriage, instead of the belief that I grew up with, thinking that marriage was just a piece of paper. And it was disposable as soon as it wasn't easy or convenient. So I think that God used those experiences in that group to show Mike and I that we could do it, that it was something that he had in the plan for us. And so because of this church and because of that group of people, we did finally get to the point where we were like, we're all in, this is it. So
that's beautiful. So there wasn't a grand conversation and like a big spiritual decision to return. It was out of desperation.
Absolutely.
And a dark time of like, hey, I'm at home alone with all these kids and he's working all the time. And at this point, is Mike leading, following in this, like, okay, hon, I hear you, so I'm going to go?
Well, he was working nights, so he would come home and go to bed.
Okay.
So I wouldn't say that at that point, when I started coming back, not that he was ever resistant to it.
Right.
It just wasn't.
He needed sleep.
Yeah. It's not even that it wasn't convenient. It's just, So
having worked night
but when
shift,
when he was able, he did come. Yeah. He was never resistant to it.
Well, and then obviously the small group and everything else, like there's a connection point there. There's a beauty to that. But we understand that there's always somebody that has to take that first step. And oftentimes it is in some of our darkest times that we get kicked in the pants. But I just want to point out, like, not everybody comes back. Mm-hmm. Not everybody's willing to have the hard conversation, have the hurt feelings. Nowadays, this is called church hurt. Mm-hmm. And it's the reason why people leave the faith entirely. They just walk away. They throw their hands up. They're angry. They take their ball and go home, but they don't ever come back with it. And what do you think the difference maker was there? I mean, was it just the desperation? Was there more to it? Or was it the seeds planted along the way?
God used it all. He used it all. But even at that point, I wasn't all in. I was still holding back a part of myself from God and from, the healing that he offers. And so there was another point where through changing relationships and things that just were hard and uncomfortable, where we did stop coming to the tab again. And
more church hurt, more people, right?
Yeah. And that's the thing, we refer to it as church hurt, but it's not the church that hurts us, it's people. And we hurt each other because we're human, and the flesh and the sin in the world, we blame the church.
Well said.
And
so any advice to those that are out there, and that's deep in there, and because what I don't hear you saying is I don't hear you minimizing it. The pain, like, those things were real. Mm-hmm. There was, even in the first time, that may have been handled. We'll give John a ton of credit here and say it was handled very well, and yet still there was hurt. But in the second time, there were people, there was sin, there was all the different things that come into that. And I know you're not here to air other people's baggage, but all of that sin and pain, that's real. Mm-hmm. But you didn't let it make the decision for you. You acknowledged it as separate from the greater church, because the church isn't the building, the church is the people, but just because a few, we're all jerks.
I can acknowledge it now.
Okay.
I couldn't acknowledge it then.
Okay.
And I think that's why, again, as I refer to it, I took my toys and went home, because it was easier than, it was easier for me to be hurt instead of acknowledging what it was in me that was hurting.
Right.
And allowing that to heal.
Right.
Allowing God to heal it. But I came back a third time. And after the third time, that's where I came to a point of total surrender. I knew I had to just stick it out. If I didn't find the right place to serve, if I didn't find my people, if I, no matter what, I was in it.
I'm really glad you found that.
It was definitely, I still remember the day. I don't remember the date, but I remember physically I was walking past the church, and I was like, I don't understand, I want to quit. I want to take my toys and go home again because this is hard. I remember I was seeking the place where I was supposed to serve. I wanted to be involved. And, I tried the worship team multiple times, and I'm great at singing in the shower. I have no professional training. I have no ability to harmonize. That's not truly my gifting.
I'm so glad you say that.
They like to push me that way.
I hear that story from so many people, and I think what somebody needs to tell this whole world is hey, there's a difference between singing that we all like to, and not me, but many people like to do, and then doing the things that actually happen when people sing together. And I'm like, I didn't know there was harmonizing and all these other pieces.
Exactly.
Yeah, somebody should warn us of that, maybe before we do the American Idol thing.
Yeah. No, I tried to be involved in multiple places. I served with youth. I served on worship team. I tried to get involved with women's ministry, and nothing ever fell in place. Nothing ever fit. And I couldn't understand why. I just wanted to belong, but it it came to that point of walking by and saying, okay, God, I give it all to you. Like, I will stick it out. I'll sit in the uncomfortable. I'll sit in this silence where I don't feel like I'm hearing you tell me where I'm supposed to go or what I'm supposed to do. But I sat through it and I stuck it out. And then Haiti.
Then Haiti. All right, let's pause there for a minute because I know there's a lot there. Haley, through all of this, are you aware of any of it? Like, at any point, are you less self-absorbed and aware? No, just still a young person. Mm-hmm. But Mom's also not coming home, airing the dirty laundry of the church, screaming about John, trying to pull you out of youth group. Like,
no.
Okay.
Yep. No, not really aware of any of it.
Okay. Are you seeing any of the backlying tension that's going on? Like, did you notice that she wasn't at church for a few weeks, type of thing?
I don't even. No, I don't have a lot of memories really from that stage.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I don't.
I might say good.
Yeah,
right.
I'm glad she doesn't.
I think that's a blessing sometimes for our kids. Yeah.
It's pretty in and out.
Yeah. God works that out on purpose. It's like, all right, listen, we're going to just forget this part of and maybe it's trauma. I don't know. There's counselors out there that really want to get their hands on us.
Trauma's
right now.
fun.
Yeah. All right. So this period of surrender, but I still want to pause back just a second earlier because you said, we talked about kind of there was a church hurt, but then there was also a couple other things that you said that these are some of the most common reasons I find that folks leave the church. There is church hurt. There is people, and they just don't realize that there are people everywhere. So you can just keep avoiding community, avoiding people as long as you want. And yeah, you become a hermit or you realize that at some point you've got to give that up. But then there was not just that. There was also, I don't feel like I belong. Mm-hmm. And that's a tough place within church world, especially a church our size these days. Because you can come in and sneak out the back door and then say, nobody said hi to me. Or you can go say hi to somebody.
Yeah.
And that's tough. And you had to surrender. Like, you were doing all the things that we tell people to do. Serve, find a spot, try this. You did all that and you still hadn't found your people. Mm-hmm. Even though you had a pretty cool small group. That wasn't your people?
Yeah. I mean, they were, but that was different than the church. That was different than serving.
Okay.
And I think that serving was something that was on my heart, but I just couldn't find my spot, couldn't find my place.
And at some point you surrender that and say, I'm going to do it anyway. And then, and you mentioned silence.
Yeah.
This is a hard thing because I think many of us feel this where we're praying. We're like, God, surely you'll find me a spot to serve. Like, you'll give me my perfect niche. You'll do the thing. And God doesn't always answer that way. And through those three things, you still decide, all right, I'm going to stick it out. And then for whatever reason, he sends you to Haiti.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, in my mind, at that point in time, Emma was in high school and dating her now husband, Dom. And
Dom didn't get a shout out, by the way. And I got to say, Dom was one of those people.
Bro. I'm getting there.
I just had to say, I said Dom, a lot about Brad. Dom's a phenomenal dude. And it was really interesting to get to know him because I saw him coming out of high school years into I'm serving at youth group years. That is a tough transition. Dom handled that really, really well. So just needed to throw my shout out.
Yeah. So they wanted to go on this missions trip. And so I was like, well, I got to keep an eye. So
I'm not sending my two kids dating.
I never really had a desire to go on a missions trip, to leave the country, anything like that. But all of a sudden it was like, I'm going. And so, as we're leading up and building up to the trip, it was like, this is going to be a great opportunity, a great bonding opportunity for me and Emma. And I'm pretty sure that Emma and I disliked each other more on that trip than we ever have in her entire life. It was not the most pleasant experience for the two of us. But that trip was an opportunity that God gave me to see Dom in a different light.
The dude's got a big heart.
A huge heart. The kid came home with practically nothing left in his suitcase because he gave it all away.
That's the Dom I got to see early on. Oh, Haley, are those tears rolling in? You love Dom too. We all started crying because we love Dom. This is not where I saw this coming.
All of my son-in-laws and future son-in-laws are amazing. I'm proud of all of them.
It's amazing. So now I've been to Haiti. This is something we share. Not together. We've never done a Haiti trip at the Tabernacle, but that was a big part of the Tabernacle's history. But you're on the ground there. You're seeing this in Dom, but what's it doing in you?
Oh,
I know. Because this plays in pretty directly to how the Tabernacle.
Where I am now. Yeah. So the very first day that we were there, it was hot and it was raining and it was muddy, and all of a sudden we're having a vacation Bible school day with kids coming down from the local school. And I was just miserable. And I remember leaning over to two friends and saying, "This is the dumbest thing ever. I don't know what God's thinking. I don't even like kids." And when my, there was a little girl. All of a sudden, this troop of kids is marching down and they're chanting and they're doing this little jig as they walk. And I should probably go back up just a little bit to before the trip. Right before the trip, somebody said, "Why are you going?" And I said, "Well, I feel like we talk about cracked pots around the church. That's just part of our DNA." Yeah. I said, "I feel like I've been working on my pot and I've got it put back together, and God's light's shining through, and but I said, I feel like He's not done. He's going to pick it up and drop it so that we have to start all over and rebuild that pot so that more of His light can shine through." And so we'll go back to the moment where I say I don't like children. And this adorable little girl in a red and white plaid shirt and her little ponytail braids reaches down and grabs my hand. God took that pot and dropped it.
He's good
and
that way.
I came home from that trip and stepped into children's ministry. I stepped in as a volunteer. We're just getting ready to kick off the Saturday night programming. The director at that time was not just one more shift of trying to fill volunteers was hard.
Right.
And a lot of times when that happens, we self-sacrifice. And she didn't want to make that sacrifice. Their family didn't want to make that sacrifice. And so I stepped in and drug Mike right along with me. And we started serving on Saturday nights with kids. And, God took care of the rest. He helped me find my place.
That He did. That's where I met you. That's the role in which I should say that I met you. Mm-hmm. And I remember when you first told me that story and going, doesn't add up. How do you not love children? Like, I see how you love children. It's so obvious that you love these children. But it reminds me that Scripture tells us that we will have a hard heart. He will take it out and replace it with a heart of flesh. Mm-hmm. And He gave you a heart for children. And to this day, although you no longer serve in that capacity, I see that same heart come out. And it was beautiful. So much of what you did in that time frame was so directed toward caring for these children and their parents. And you had this managerial skill set that God had given you, where you brought a high level of excellence to the program, to putting the pieces together. Things ran very smoothly. But we also always seem to take advantage of that as well. You never just did Tab Kids, at least in the time that I was here. Frankly, to be careful here, there was a time just prior to me coming on staff where I feel like you were also helping hold up our student ministry. You've always been very invested and involved in that. You were helping with administrative roles, kind of behind the scenes, a little bit of everything.
I'm a doer.
You're a doer, but you also, and that may be good, bad, or otherwise. Sometimes I think God's going to crack that pot for some of us. But what I also saw was a willingness to go, whatever you got for me, God.
Yep.
So tell me a little bit about how that plays into how you're no longer the Tab Kids coordinator.
Well, I learned through that experience where God showed me that part of myself that I didn't know was there. That anything that I do has to be completely for Him, and I have to do it. We'll often see like we have to hold things with open hands because at any point in time, God can come along and say, "This is no longer for you. I need you to do this instead."
Right.
And even though I was in that place of children's ministry and I loved it, and I felt like I was doing it well, and I was told that I was doing it well, an opportunity came up, and God said, this part is done, and now I need you to do this. And so it was stepping from kids ministry into Buckley campus admin, leaving something that I loved, where I felt like, yes, this is my purpose. And then all of a sudden, okay, this isn't my purpose now.
It's because God didn't want it to go from purpose to identity, right? He goes,
Absolutely.
Hey, hold on.
Yes.
And during this time, so she roped you in right off the bat. So you're now a part of the Tab Kids program.
You and Brad.
Yeah, and Brad, again, to throw out some shout outs, like one of those dynamic guys that when he's around kids, he is one. And that's how I met Brad, was like, oh, this guy's fun.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about you. So you're serving with this. You're seeing Mom's heart change and love this. Where are you? Do you like kids? I've met yours. You seem to like them.
Yeah.
You like mine fine.
Yeah.
Some days.
When we came back here, Grace was 1. And so I just kind of had it in my head, like, well, since I have a child in kids ministry, like I feel like I should be a part of kids ministry too, do my part. And then I knew she needed help as well. So yeah, we just kind of got roped into it and liked kids well enough. I never served in, I never liked serving in where my kids were.
Right.
Because it's like, as a parent, you need a break from what you're dealing with all the time, the age group. And so I would always serve in the older kids. And now I serve everywhere. But
well, that's a great shout out, though. I think that's worth, again, echoing to folks. It's like, hey, I get it. Like when you've got your own small children at home, it's okay to just serve outside of that. But but if you're not finding your place yet, maybe just start serving in the place where you're utilizing.
Right. Yeah. Like when you have the young babies at home, you don't want to really go to church and hold other people's babies, right? But you might want to go sit in with older kids, 3rd, 4th, 5th graders that are actually kind of fun and cool. Yeah. And you don't have to hold them.
Maybe learn a little bit about what you'll do or won't do with your kids.
Yeah. And then when you're on the other end of it and you're older and your kids are grown, maybe you want to go and get some baby snuggles again.
Right.
So I feel like there's a really, you can be in any of those situations.
So as I remember it, Tracy, wherever she goes, she brings the entire, like she brings her little army, right?
Yes.
Like she's always got.
We are an army.
The
we
Emmas,
always help mom. Always help mom.
And we can joke, but that's a beautiful thing. That speaks a lot to your family. And that's something I've always seen. It's like you guys are always tight knit. And every now and again, I'd be like, oh, it's a little worrisome. Like, Tracy, don't burn you and your family out just trying to make this happen. But it seems like that worked out pretty well.
We're doers.
Yeah, because we're all doers.
So I think you did skip, though, at what point you got married.
Oh, yeah. You are married.
Because when you went to Haiti, you were married, right? When you went with Emma and Dom?
Yes.
Because Mike went too?
Yeah.
Okay. So they did get married.
We got married
before
in 2008.
The year I graduated.
Yes.
Okay. John also, shout out John, made me go to the wedding. So.
Oh. There was a question there?
She did not want to.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. And so it's funny now seeing that, like, in his mind, he's probably like, Haley, I hurt them long ago about not being married. Now they're going to get married, and you're not going to go?
Right. You can't be the domino that doesn't...
No, he did. He called me one day and he said, what's going on? He's like, what? I know there's some stuff there, but you need to be there. Basically was the end of it. You need to be there. I was like, yes, Dad.
So I did not know that. So
this is a eye-opening podcast.
Thanks, John.
Yeah. I don't think John gets a lot of shout-outs
we
on
don't
the
tell
podcast.
each other everything, apparently.
Right. So I'm grateful that you give it, because that's a perspective of John I don't get to see. Like, we don't often see that John
Well, and
these
I don't
days
think
in big church.
I don't think he remembers that. I don't know if he does or not, but I've said it to him before since then.
Yeah. Cannot
he's
confirm or deny.
Yeah, it's over his head on whether or not that actually happened.
He's like, yeah, I was a great guy
But
that
it
day.
happened.
I don't remember it.
Yeah.
Oh, good job, John.
Yeah. So, anyways, I just wanted to add in. I don't think that. I think we missed the part where you did actually get married.
We did actually.
I'm glad
get
you threw
married.
that in there. Like, there's an explanation.
Just so everyone knows they are married.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's an important piece because there's this like, hey, this is there, and it wasn't an immediate like, hey, I'm going to go fix this, right? Because I've been in the room where a couple looks at me and says, hey, we need to get married to fix this, and that always makes me a little nervous because I don't see Scripture being a just clean up your sin. Mm-hmm. It's Jesus redeems, and that can be a process and one of surrender that your life continues to show.
Yeah. Well, and she wasn't going to just get married because someone told her to.
Right.
I
have met Tracy. She does not just do things because she's...
She did decide for herself first.
I don't know who you're talking about.
So let's continue to pull that thread just a little bit of you're the Tab Kids coordinator. You're now married. Thank you, Haley.
I was married before that.
Right.
Yes.
But God is shattering your pot and telling you, okay, Buckley admin. And that's a weird thing because like Tab Kids might be easier to see the vision, right? Of like, hey, I'm ministering to the children.
Yeah.
And then admin, you and I can relate in. It's a tougher role. Like it's tougher to see the vision some days. Mm-hmm. But you've been doing that for a minute now. And so tell me a little bit about that process. Did you immediately see this as a good thing? Was it hard to step into? Has it always been good?
It was hard to step into, but I think that was because you had talked about that switch when, we're going from our purpose to something becoming our identity. And I think that I was starting to really identify as Tab Kids director and really like loving that and, being like, yes, the kids love me. Like the kids hug me on Sunday, like they're always so happy to see me. And I was really starting to find my identity in that. And that's when, it's like that little tap on the shoulder of like, hey, guess what? You're not going to do this anymore. And so stepping into admin and I've worked in administrative roles, not necessarily administration, but managerial, which basically that's administration. Yeah. Like we've said, I'm a doer. I'm very task oriented. And so making that decision was hard. But it was a tearful yes, because if that's one thing I've learned is that it's always the next yes. And my willingness to say yes, even when I don't want to, that was the next step that God was putting in front of me. And are you willing to let go of Tab Kids? And so like with the open-handedness, and when I say I was starting to identify, I was starting to grasp onto that role and loving it so much that, I just had to peel those fingers back and open my hands back up and say, nope, God says it's time for this phase to step away and, time to step into this. And so tearfully, I accepted and said, yep, let's go. I'm all in, whatever, wherever, whatever, let's go.
I love that phrase, always the next yes. I remember something Britton used to say, if you still remember Britton out there.
Who's that?
Tall guy, said a lot of things.
Oh, okay.
But every now and again.
He used to work here?
Yeah.
Really likes In-N-Out.
Yeah.
In-N-Out burgers.
Yeah. He used to talk about how you can typically point back to the last time that God asked you to do something and you ignored him, said no, whatever it is, and see where your spiritual growth began to stagnate.
Absolutely.
He said it better is probably some really great catchphrase, but that's real.
It is.
And when we are open to whatever God has for us next, that next yes, we open the door to great things. And I'm so grateful that you said yes to that. I'll admit
Mine
I
too.
struggled because when Ben Brown asked you,
Yeah.
I wasn't on board. I was struggling with it because I'm next gen at the time, and I'm like, we work good together, and those two roles worked really well together. I had no idea how God would work that out in the future, but I watched you mourn it. I watched you step into it, and I've gotten to watch how this church has thrived because if you're out there and you have no idea what an administrator does, don't think secretary. Think hold a bunch of administratively stunted pastors together and keep us afloat most days. I mean,
She's the church mom.
yes, the church mom. We joked about this beforehand. Like most people around here call you mom.
Yeah.
I don't. I get to call you older sister at best, and you call me annoying little brother.
Exactly.
I can live with that. But it is real. Like the pieces that would get missed otherwise, the things that only a mom would see, you've been helping hold together. And God used that very specific wiring giftedness.
Yeah.
And then my role changed.
Yep.
And I got to be a campus pastor. And then again, Tracy and I are working very closely, dynamic duo. And I wouldn't say that I'm necessarily the most administratively lax, but my goodness, I couldn't have imagined doing that role without you there.
Thanks.
And
We do make a good team.
we did. And then things shifted again. For me, at least, I came into a different role. We still work together in kind of a different capacity. John Williams steps in. I know you've been a gift to him. I know if he was sitting down here, he'd echo that. But as we kind of begin to wrap things up, we can look into the future because God wasn't done. He's got more
Oh,
pots
he's
to
always
crack.
got more.
Always more pots to crack, always more yeses. But
Yeah.
this is where I'm so grateful is that you have been willing over and over again to hold your hands wide open and say, God, what do you have for me next? And next, he's asked you to become the executive admin or executive assistant. We haven't decided
Executive administrator. Yeah.
that. And for people out there, they're like, what's that?
Scary?
Tracy's going to hold up the leadership team in that same administrative way. We talk about it as kind of a parachute packer. Oftentimes the soldiers are about to jump out of the helicopter. The only thing they know is I need a parachute to do this. They don't have time to check and make sure it's right. Tracy's been the person that made sure that we could jump out confidently for a long time. But recently we've asked her to change that role and to support that team specifically. So we're looking to fill big shoes in the Buckley campus admin role. At the time of this, you might actually still be throwing in resumes. We'd love that. But more importantly, it was another yes you had to make. And I got to sit in on the interview and watch the tears, and you go, same thing.
Yep.
Whatever God's got.
Yep. I have to be willing to give the next yes.
And we get to see how this one works out. Any hopes
Yep.
and dreams as it pans out? Like, let's be honest for a minute. Like, I'm sure John won't listen to this. None of the leadership team will listen. Maybe they will. Fears, dreams, excitements of this new role?
Well, I hope none of the parachutes fail.
I hadn't thought about that side of that analogy yet.
No, I'm confident in the leadership of the Tabernacle. I have seen the way that the Holy Spirit works in my life. When I'm here, when I'm faithful, when I'm willing, and so it's a tearful change because I was comfortable. I loved being the Buckley campus admin. I love being campus mom. I love knowing the majority of the people on a weekend, and but I think that I was starting to find too much of my identity there.
So God cracks another pot.
Yep, here we go.
So what you're saying is keep our identity in Christ so we can keep doing the things we like to do.
I think what she's saying is about the time you start to feel comfortable, expect God to come in and shift some things. Maybe I'm wrong.
Not always, but yeah. When he does come in to shift them, allow it.
Mm-hmm.
Allow it. I like that. A lot of wisdom there. Tracy, I'm so glad that we finally got the opportunity to take this I'll be honest, when I first was getting ready to ask, I was like, well, this is one of those where I'll probably get a no. And again, through tears, all right, I'll do it.
Yep. Here we are.
But to be able to walk through our stories, it's a gift to others, but it's challenging. It's hard to walk through all the tears that came through and remember how God got us to where we're at. So I'm really grateful for that. Haley, thank you so much for supporting Mom. This is less words than I was expecting out of you. Will blame me for that.
Always you.
Typically the case. But I'm excited to see what comes next, not just in your role, but in how God continues to use you, because the thread we didn't get to pull, and maybe we'll get to do a part 2 someday, is along that same line, everything outside of the tabernacle was one more willingness to go, okay, God, what do you got? There's more. There's a new small group. There's so many other pieces of that puzzle. But I think that the theme that I'm taking away today is just be willing to stay open-handed, and God does some pretty cool things with it. Is there any last learnings, any little gifts, any notes, anything funny that you just want to, hey, maybe we didn't hit? Either of you?
I don't think so.
No? Hit everything.
I think that I'm good.
Good with it? Awesome.
It wasn't as bad as I thought.
Wasn't as bad. Would you say that one again? Because
I will admit, Martin, you were right. I needed to do this. Thank you. Being on the podcast is not as bad as I thought it would be.
Well, I didn't need that part, but what I did need was people to hear you say it's not that bad. Because I ask a lot of people, that's kind of what my role is, and a lot of times I get the deer in the headlights, like, I couldn't imagine doing that. And it's like, we're in a little dark room. Matt doesn't say much. It gets very, very easy. So, yeah.
And I told you no a lot of times before I finally said yes.
I know. I feel like my gift to you in life was learning to say no to me specifically. Awesome. Well, Tabernacle family, I hope you were as blessed by this conversation as I was. This is one of those opportunities we get to know somebody that's around the Tabernacle. You may or may not know all of our team, but from time to time, thumbing through these, you get to hear a chunk of their story you probably didn't know. So I hope this was a blessing. I hope you're out there holding your hands wide open for when I ask you about the podcast and other things. But if you think this would be a blessing to somebody else, if part of this story resonated with you, or you think it would with someone else, would you share, like, subscribe, do all the things that modern technology makes us do so that we get connected? But we don't want any of the credit. We want all the credit to go to God. But these stories are His, so we want to share them as far and wide as we can. Tab family, we love you. We will see you soon. Signing out. This is Tracy, Haley, and Martin.